weekend, Virtuosi Concert Series presents Artists of Manitoba, the branded connection featuring pianist Daniel Telyakov. Opening the concert is Virtuosi Young Artist Katrina Tamagi, a soprano currently pursuing her Master of Music performance at the University of Manitoba. And she has joined me in the Classic 107 studio this morning for a conversation. Hey, Katrina.
Hello.
Welcome to Classic 107.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I'd like to begin with some of the basics. You're from here, from Manitoba,
Yes.
but I'm curious. You spent some time in Edmonton, completing a Bachelor of Music at the U of A.
Yeah.
What took you to the U of A?
I had lived in Edmonton for a few years, grew up in Steinbach, moved to Edmonton, a few back and forths. And then when I graduated high school, I decided I wanted to head back to a bigger city. And Edmonton was familiar, so headed back there and ended up studying with one of Tracy Dahl's students. So that just got me reconnected back here for my master's.
And now you're back, and you're studying with Tracy.
Yeah.
What's it like studying with Tracy Dahl?
It's a wild ride. It's a dream come true because every soprano wants to study with Tracy Dahl. But every lesson is just a huge kick in the butt because she knows so many things that nobody else has ever told me. So it's such a huge learning journey every week.
She brings such an energy and a joy in her teaching, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does.
I remember the first time I worked with her, I was in my early teens. I think my voice had just changed, and it was a master class. And she exactly like you said, she really made me work, but in such a good way.
Yeah. It's never a hard push. It's full of so much encouragement, and as soon as she hears that gold, it's like, that's it.
Yeah.
So it's always so rewarding. Yeah.
So can we go back even further? When were you first bit by the music bug? You grew up in Steinbach. When did you know you wanted to pursue this?
It started when I was very young. My parents noticed that I was singing more than I was speaking, and so I started taking voice lessons really young, and then continued on through choirs in high school. I did choir at the SRSS in Steinbach. Crystal Peters has a great program there. Mm-hmm. And then I was also doing a music theater program with David Clausen there. And kind of the two of them helped push me a little bit more into the classical side of things. And I did it for a year and decided this is what I want to pursue.
And here you are now.
And here I am now, yeah.
So in addition to all of your studies, you were introduced to vocal performance in a pretty grand way. Back in 2011, the Rising Star Student Competition.
Yeah.
A debut with the WSO. What was that like back in the day?
It was surreal because I had just started singing classical music. I decided I'm going to do festival this year and started singing some of these art songs. And then Crystal Peters said, hey, there's this competition. Our choir was doing the mass choir, and she said, hey, there's a competition for a soloist. You should enter. And I was like, well, I've never sung any opera before. So I went to David and I said, David, teach me an aria.
Teach me opera.
Yeah, teach me opera. How do I do opera? So I went through and I did a couple rounds of auditions, and then all of a sudden I was on stage at the concert hall, and it was
that is totally wild.
Totally wild, yeah.
What did you sing?
I sang Bati Bati.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's charming, lovely, beautiful. And talk about a way to make a debut. That's really something else. I was just reading through your bio, and we were talking before we went on air. You've gone on to various young artist programs, Edmonton's Opera Nuova, Opera Neo in San Diego, Opera Kelowna's Summer Intensive just this past summer. Can you talk about the importance of young artist programs at this point in your career?
Yeah. Sometimes I think, you get so stuck with your one teacher. And so every time I've done an artist program, being able to work with people, not only who are just different than your norm, but people who have been in the industry and all that sort of stuff. It's really valuable, the knowledge you gain, not just vocally or working on the stage, but just the knowledge of the performing industry itself is really valuable. Every time I go, I learn something different. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Does it also kind of expand the repertoire that you're working on? It
does, yeah. I've done a few different full productions, so that's always nice to add a role to the resume. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's whether I'm learning something new or just taking some of my own arias and kind of reworking them. I've discovered that it's not always so much about the role anymore for me. At first it was, oh, I need to get the experience that I'm not getting in school, but now it's so much more about what all those other people can offer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Can you talk a little bit more about the rep that you're working on with Tracy at this point in your career?
Yeah. It's been an interesting journey because when I came to Tracy, I had, in my undergrad, been working on a lot of coloratura rep. My teachers were like, oh, you have a high voice. Your voice can move fast. Let's do all of this. And Tracy's brought me right back down and discovered, hey, you know what? We need to build some of this lower stuff. So we're working on parts of my range that aren't quite so comfortable, but it's been really good. We're doing a lot of quite a variety of art song on my recital this year. So I've got some different Italian sort of pieces, and I'm doing Eric Whitacre's 5 Hebrew love songs for something different, and then some contemporary English, and I'm also doing a couple pieces from Bach's Wedding Cantata, which I'll be singing on this concert.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say is, what are you singing at Saturday night's concert?
Yeah.
But, that kind of, there it is. It's
There
been
it is.
revealed.
Yeah.
Selections from the Wedding Cantata of Bach. Tell us a little bit about the work.
It's one of those works where it's not one of his sacred pieces, and he's got a few of those secular ones. He actually has another 1 or 2 wedding cantatas, I believe, but this is the one that's the most done. And no one knows quite exactly what it was written for, but we can tell it was written, obviously, for a wedding of a friend. And it's speculated that the wedding happened in spring because there's a lot of spring themes that go on throughout the whole work. So comparing a new relationship of marriage to the season of spring and all the new things that it brings.
Oh, totally lovely. It's a beautiful secular cantata. It really, really is. And we're going to hear selections from it. So the last thing I want to ask you is, we were talking about, your development as a soprano, studying with Tracy, working in young artist programs. What's special about being a part of the Virtuosi Young Artists series?
I had just kind of stumbled across a poster of Virtuosi, and the more I'm here in Winnipeg, the more I'm realizing how many cool opportunities there are for young artists that you don't get in a lot of other cities.
That's so true.
Right? Because you have these young artist programs that you do in the summer, but the things that companies like Virtuosi offer us is like a continuing experience, which is really, really cool to be able to get ourselves out there, get our rep out there, get some performing experience, and not have to wait until the summer.
It really is so important. And you get to perform in front of a Manitoba audience. They're always so supportive and just cheering on our own. Katrina, thanks so much for coming by Classic 107
Thank
today.
you so much for having me.
I'll let you... I'll fill you in on some details. You can see Katrina performing in Artists of Manitoba, the Brandon Connection, with a little bit of Steinbach sprinkled in, I guess. The next concert in the Virtuosi Concert Series, that's this Saturday, December 14th at Eckhart Gramate Hall, University of Winnipeg. I'm going to have some tickets to give away just after this.